Today we're going to talk about the most effective way to lose fat. I've lost over 23 kilos in 5 months of actual fat. But I've been super lean, super shredded for photo shoots, and then I've also bulked up. In fact, I've helped other people lose about 22 kilos. One of my clients lost 22 kilos in 5 months. So when it comes to fat loss, I kind of know what I'm doing. Anyway, let's get into the tips. What's a good way to lose fat? Your number one thing is track your calories. And now everyone's already clicked off the video. They're going, oh, I have to track my calories. Yeah, calories are like a measurement of energy, right? If you're eating more energy than your body's using, your body will store the energy for later. And it will store it as fat. Step number one, you're gonna count your calories. Where do I start? What do I do? I just always recommend for men, you start about 2.5. For women, you can start like 2.2. And you need to weigh yourself every day at the same time, right? So every day you wake up, you go to the toilet, you do your stuff, and then you weigh yourself. And you just write it down in your notes. It takes 2 minutes. You start eating the same amount every day. And then you start weighing yourself every day. Now what do? You look at your weight gain or your weight loss. So what you do is you look at that list of you weighing yourself, and let's say it said 70 kilos. And then it goes 70 kilos, 70 kilos, 70 kilos. And for the whole week, it stayed at 70 kilos, roughly, maybe give or take like 200-300 grams. That's your maintenance. The amount of calories you need to maintain your body weight. Now, if you look at it and it goes 70, 69.8, 69.5, 69.4, 69.2, 69.0, you're in a deficit because you're not eating enough, which makes you lose weight, right? This is what we want for weight loss. Now, if you look at it and it says 70, 70.2, 70.5, 70.8, 71, you're in a surplus, eating extra. So you're eating extra calories than your body's burning. Therefore, your body's storing this as fat. If you're in a surplus, you need to lower your calories by probably at least 500 or so to get to around maintenance or in a deficit. If you're at maintenance, you need to lower your calories by about 300-ish to be in like a good deficit, right? Maybe 300 to 400. If you're in a deficit, depending on how much you're losing is how much you're gonna decrease calories. So if you're losing, let's say half a kilo a week, you're probably only gonna take away another 150 calories, maybe another 200 calories max. The whole thing is that we don't really want to be losing too much weight. Now you might be saying, you might be like, what is too much weight? Too much weight is going to depend by the person. If you're an 100 kilo plus person, you could probably afford to lose, depending on how much muscle you have, right? You can probably afford to lose about 1.5 kilos of fat to maybe 2 kilos and still feel okay-ish. If you're a 60 kilo person, I wouldn't recommend losing more than a kilo a week. It's a bigger portion of your total weight if you're smaller. If you're 120, it would be double, right? We get the maths a little bit. So we need it to be sustainable. For most people, around that kilo mark is what's sustainable. It's what you can keep doing and not go crazy, right? Because the thing is, as you start dieting and you start getting hungrier, your cortisol in your body will go up. So cortisol is your stress hormone. This is gonna make it hard for you to sleep. This is gonna make it hard for you to relax. This is also gonna affect your levels of testosterone, which if you're a woman, still matters, okay? If you're a man, it most definitely matters. So the whole point is it needs to be sustainable. About a kilo a week is the mark. If you're not losing enough, you lower the calories a little bit. Or if you really don't want to lower the calories, you up your expenditure. What does expenditure mean? It's a fancy word for you do more exercise. What other exercise should I be doing? But I'm already training 5 times a week. I'm doing all these muscles. I can't be doing more. I'm not going to recover. Cardio. Let's say you're doing cardio 4 or 5 times a week. You add an extra 10 minutes of cardio. Oh, but I'm already doing so much cardio. I don't want to be doing any more cardio. You add a little bit more steps. You do a 40-minute walk in the morning. But like, I can't afford that time, When you go shopping, you don't take the car, you walk. When you take the dog out, you walk. You need to find a way, right? For me, I didn't want to be spending time on an exercise bike because I didn't want to have to sit on an exercise bike and waste time. So what did I do? Instead of taking the bus, I used to walk. Me walking was the same speed or roughly faster than the bus. This isn't going to be the same for everyone, but I'm giving you an example, right? I'm now doing cardio, so I'm burning calories, which is great, really helps with the weight loss. It means that I can eat more and still lose weight. What you're gonna do is you're gonna change your calories, you're gonna adjust your expenditure, how much exercise you're doing to make it so that you're losing at the speed you wanna lose at. What should happen now is you're losing at the speed you wanna lose at. This whole time, you're training in terms of like how you're training in the gym. If you are training in the gym, you can still lose fat without training in the gym. It's just that it's gonna be so much better if you do. Right? Because you can either, if you're new to the gym, you can actually put on muscle while losing fat at the same time, which is fucking amazing. If you're not new to the gym, you can maintain the muscle. But also, fun fact, a study done where people were doing either just cardio, so same amount of time, either they were doing just cardio, they were doing cardio and training weights, or they were doing just training weights, right? So there's 3 groups. The group that burnt the most calories right, in total, or lost the most weight, was the group just doing weights, which tells us that the group of people just doing weights burns the most calories in that amount of time. Why? Because the amount of calories you burn training is insane, but also the amount of calories your body burns recovering the muscle and healing the muscle is also a lot. Now you might be thinking, okay, but why don't I just train more weights then? Training weights gives us a disproportionate amount of fatigue, right? So much more amount of fatigue than if you are doing cardio, which is probably like, let's say here, or if you're doing steps, which is like almost non-existent, okay? Unless you're doing like 50,000 steps. This is why you're gonna train and stimulate the muscle, because we need that. If you don't stimulate the muscle when you're cutting, your body will eat it up. The same way it's kind of using the fat, it will use the muscle. If the muscle isn't being stimulated to stay, it will go. So you stimulate the muscle to stay, to make sure you don't get too much fatigue, so that you can keep training, keep stimulating the muscle, and keep burning. You add in cardio, right? First of all, training your heart is a very good thing. You should not be overlooking training your heart. But number two, it's an extra way to burn calories, and then steps is the best way to burn calories without fatiguing yourself too much. Okay, so why don't I just cut out all the cardio and train weights and do steps? Steps takes too long. You will burn 2 to 3 times the amount of calories doing cardio than doing steps. If you have all the time in the world, then yes, do 4 or 5 hours of steps instead of doing cardio. For most people, it's not gonna work, right? Sneaking in steps when you can is very beneficial though. I think it's something around each 1,000 steps on average, I think burns around 30 calories-ish. 30 to 40 to 50, depends on how much a person weighs. At this point, your body's losing weight, everything's going well. And you're looking at it and you're like, wait a minute, it's becoming a bit slow. I was losing a kilo a week and now I'm losing less. What's happening? Your body has a new maintenance because you weigh less. You weighed, let's say 80 kilos and now you weigh 70. Your maintenance to maintain that body weight has changed because you have a lower amount of body weight to maintain. So if you want to keep losing weight, what do you do at this point? You lower your calories again, or you higher your expenditure. Are we kind of getting what's going on here, right? Every time it's like not going fast enough, what do? We either higher the expenditure or we lower the calories. Why? Because we want to increase the deficit that we're in, right? So your body keeps losing weight. You could do this exponentially, but don't do that because you end up being 5% body fat and on life support. But you can just do this exponentially. So I'd say stick to about a kilo a week. When it starts to get to like 0.7 kilos, 0.6 kilos a week, take a little bit of calories away, maybe like 50 calories, 100 calories, just to higher that deficit a little bit. This whole time, you need to be eating nutrient-dense foods. So you need to be eating healthy stuff, preferably whole foods, so that while you're in this deficit, your body still has all the vitamins and the minerals it needs, so you can recover and feel good. If you're on a deficit, you can lose a deficit by only eating donuts, right? If you're still in a deficit in terms of the calories, right? You can still lose weight only eating donuts, but you're not going to be getting the fibers, the minerals, and the vitamins you need, which is not great because then you can have other issues like joint issues and other things that we don't need. Another thing when you're losing weight, hydrates, 2 to 3 liters. You should be doing this anyway. When you're losing weight, sometimes your joints can get a little bit more dry. There's less carbohydrates, there's less glycogen, which is basically when you eat carbs, turns into glucose, turns into glycogen and stored in the muscle. Imagine your joints become more dehydrated because your body can't really hold on to the water, right? So electrolytes and some water is great, right? Because it can't hold on to the water because it needs to bind with carbs. But you're not having that much carbs because you're in a deficit. That's basically what you're gonna do. Vitamins, minerals, nutrients, you need to look after them, look after your sleep. You can get ashwagandha, which is a herb, it's natural, which has clinically been proven to reduce cortisol, so the stress hormone in your body, can help you sleep if you have anxiety-related sleep problems. That's how you're gonna lose fat. I don't wanna track, I don't wanna do. If you really don't wanna track, it's gonna be less efficient. But what you can do is you can do like, because I know some people they don't wanna weigh themselves and they don't want to weigh the food. And sometimes it's not laziness. Sometimes it's trauma related or mental things. There's still ways you can lose weight. You can look at the food as in 2 fists of food, right? So it can be like, right now you're eating 2 fists of rice and a fist like worth of volume of chicken. And then what you can do is as you need to lower your deficit, whatever, you take away half a fist of volume worth of rice. It's gonna be way less efficient, but it's still a way where people can still lose fat and gain muscle and stuff like that without having to track and stuff. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you think in the comments. I kind of do want to know some like your guys' opinions if you're watching this. And I do appreciate you guys on the YouTube here. We don't have many of you guys compared to the Instagram and TikTok. I don't know if you guys know, but I have 100K on Instagram now, which is kind of cool, and 100K on TikTok. But I still appreciate you guys a lot. You guys watching my stuff and commenting and all that type of stuff. So yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one.